All right, the Miami Heat were able to take down the Atlanta Hawks on the road Friday evening to force a playoff series. They make the postseason, the real postseason, for the third straight year as the 8th seed. They did it 2 years ago against the Bucks, last year against the Celtics, and then this year it will be against the Cleveland Cavaliers, where they are heavy underdogs, 12-point underdogs for Game 1. We'll see if Miami can do and get the upset. But I'll say this, folks. If you want the Heat to upset the Cavs in this series, not just Game 1, but win as an 8 seed over a 1 seed for the second time in 3 years, hit the like button on this video. Don't jinx it. Can't hurt. Hit the thumbs up icon if you want to see the Heat advance past the Cleveland Cavaliers. As we've done with the past couple of previews here, I do think it's important to mention the season series between these two teams. And the Cavs are up in the 3-game series 2-1. Miami actually won the first game of the season on December 8th at home, 122-113. Fun fact about that game, the dates actually tell you Jimmy Butler played in that one. He was not. I remember very vividly. I believe it was a Sunday afternoon game. No Jimmy Butler, so they did take down the Cavs at home. Then they got blown out in Miami as the Cavs won by 20. But then they did almost beat Cleveland in Cleveland the third and final time they played. It was an ESPN Wednesday game. They lost 112-107. That was the infamous Terry Rozier game, if you remember. Bam Adebayo went nuclear. I think he had 30 points, but Rozier was so bad down the stretch and ultimately cost Miami that game. So I will say, if you're a positive person when it comes to the Heat-Cavs series, it is 1-1 with almost a 2-1 favor of Miami if Rozier didn't choke. Now, when it comes to the injury report, we've showcased the injury report for the Heat Bulls game and the Heat Hawks game. Both teams are healthy here. You're going to see the full fleet of guys for Cleveland: Mobley, Mitchell, Allen, Hunter, Garland, Strus, Okoro, the whole 9 yards. For Miami, Nikola, Jovic, and Pelle Larsson were actually both active for the Friday game against the Hawks. Both of them didn't play, and I would be shocked to see if Nikola Jovic played against the Cavs here. He's able to, but he hasn't played real basketball in 5 weeks since he fractured his hand. Is Erik Spoelstra going to thrust him into the lineup in a playoff series against the Cavs? I could see him doing it if the Heat get blown out and it's a blowout in the second half, get him repetition for potential minutes in a closer game later on in the series, but I will not expect to see a ton of Nikola Jovic in this game. All right, this is quick keys to victory here because we're filming this Friday night after the game against the Hawks. I think the number one thing you got to do if you want to win this series, this isn't just Game 1, this is a series, you got to muddy the waters. You do. When I think about a pathway for Miami winning, I'm having a hard time finalizing a true path for the Heat to take down the Cleveland Cavaliers in a 7-game series. But one of the things they'll have to do is muddy the waters. When you look at the Cavs this season in the regular season, they were the second highest rated team offensively in the offensive rating. They were the number 1 team in the NBA in points per game. They were the second team in field goal percentage per game. They were the second best team in three-point shooting per game. So they are one of the best, if not the best offensive team in the NBA during the 82-game regular season. Now, obviously, playoff basketball is a little bit more intense and different than regular season ball, but if you want to win, this game cannot be played in the 110s. You have to make every game played in the high 90s, fringe 100s, because as a team yourself, you don't have the most offensive firepower against a top half defensive team, which Cleveland is. So you have to play the best defense that you can possibly play, keep them in the low 100s, and hope your offense will find a way to get to 110 points a couple games to get some wins. So you got to muddy the waters, and if I'm being honest, you probably have to win one of the first 2 games on the road, because if it's 2-0 going back to Miami, you probably only split in the Heat's arena, which would make it 3-1, and then Cleveland would probably finish it in 5. So you got to win at least 1 in Cleveland. You got to keep these games lower scoring as well. You also have to create second chance opportunities. This is probably the number 1 difference between this team. When I was looking up the metrics on the Cleveland Cavaliers this season after the win against the Hawks, I had a very difficult time finding things that they are not good at because the metrics say they're good at everything. Well, the one thing that I did find that is a little chink in the armor potentially here is they are not the best defensive rebounding team. They are actually the 22nd defensive rebounding team in the NBA with a percentage of 70%. So there is opportunities for their opponents to get on the glass and create second chance opportunities, which if you actually look at the metrics and look at their second chance opportunity and second chance points given up to opponents in the regular season, they are just a middle of the pack to slightly below average team in the NBA. So all of the metrics will suggest they are a top 5, top 10 team in almost every category. The one that I found they are not is defensive rebounding. So Highsmith, Wiggins, Anderson, Bam, Ware, crash the offensive glass. You have to get yourself second chance opportunities because the Heat are a top 15 three-point shooting team in the NBA this season. You get a quick rebound, kick it out to a shooter like Duncan, like Hero, like Davion Mitchell, who's just become an unbelievable three-point shooter ever since joining the Heat team at the deadline. Yeah, maybe that's the chance you have to potentially create a mismatch between these two teams. All right, I didn't expect it to happen, but the Heat will have 2 playoff games. And if you want to go see the Heat play in person in Game 3 and Game 4, get your tickets with Game Time, the #1 ticketing app that makes purchasing tickets so easy with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA playoff tickets. And like I said, Game 3 will be Saturday, April 26th in Miami. Game 4 is Monday, April 28th. Take advantage and go if you're in the local Miami area. They've got last-minute deals. Save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy show, theaters, and more. You could save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats. That's called zone deals. They also have all-in pricing, which when you toggle that feature, shows you the total price of your ticket up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, one of the next things that I think the Heat need to do is they have to play fast, and you can't let their defense set. Now, if you look at the last couple of years of Cleveland, they've actually predicated themselves on their defense. You remember that Cavs Magic first-round series a year ago where Cleveland took down Orlando in 7 before losing to the Celtics in the second round. Those games were being played in the high 80s and the low 90s. This is not the same Cavaliers team this season. They've improved drastically offensively, but they aren't as good as they were last year defensively, metrically. Now, who knows? Maybe they clamp up in the postseason with DeAndre Hunter, Mobley, Jared Allen and company there in the front court. But to me, if you want to get the best looks offensively, you have to play quick. And if you look at the metrics actually this season, the Cleveland Cavaliers are 15th in the NBA, so middle of the pack, at fast break points per game allowed to opponents. And fast break points could be calculated in many different ways, whether it's off turnovers, whether it's getting a defensive stop, rebounding and going quick, or even off a make deep outlet, pass ahead, getting your offense quick. I'm not going to try to argue for the Heat to play extremely quick because if you want to muddy the waters and make it a low-scoring game, you do have to play with a controlled pace, but you have to know your balance. And that's kind of where I'm going with this. You don't have to play at the fastest pace in the NBA, but you also can't play so slow to where it's just so constricting to you because the Cavs defense is getting set every single time and locking in. You have to find that happy medium between playing slow and controlling the pace and keeping it lower scoring, but also taking advantage when you can of getting out in transition. Erik Spoelstra will have to have communication and conversation with your 2 lead guards, Tyler Hero, Davion Mitchell, on when to push, when not to push, and figure out the good spot there. Make sure you do join us for our Game 1 watch party. We will be live for every game but one in the playoff series. I know it's a doom, but because of other commitments made here at Chat Sports and them playing Game 3 in the heart of the NFL Draft, we won't be live for Game 3, but we'll be live for Game 1 on Sunday. Games at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, so 30 minutes prior, 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central. Join the channel. Subscribe today. Last thing the Heat need to do, in my opinion, you need to run them off the three-point line. You heard me say it a little bit earlier. The Cleveland Cavaliers are the second best three-point shooting team in the NBA. They shot, I believe it was 38.7%. The best mark was actually the Milwaukee Bucks at 38.8% from beyond the arc. So they are a really good three-point shooting team here. You see Donovan Mitchell, Garland, Max Strus are a good friend. DeAndre Hunter, Mobley has incorporated a little bit of a three ball this season. They are so deep. They are so good. They have everything that you want in a team, which is why they went 64-18 and were atop of the Eastern Conference this season. But if you want to win this series, you cannot let them consistently make 13, 14, 15 three-pointers a night. Because if they do, and they shoot their 35 to 40% from beyond the arc, they get the Cleveland crowd into it, their defense gets activated a little bit, you will be in trouble. If you are at the 8th seed and you want to get the upset, you can't get daggered by threes. If they're going to kill you by paper cuts and finish floaters, layups, and dunks inside, go ahead. You just can't take the knockout punch early in these games by them going nuclear from three, because you are not a team built to come from behind. Hell, you're not a team built to hold a lead. So you can't let them get hot from beyond the arc. All right, get your official prediction in. I will give you mine here in just 1 second. Who do you got? Type MIA for the Heat. Type CLE for the Cavs. Who wins? Also, if you want to, bonus points. Tell me who wins the series and how many games. Let me know down in the comment section. I want to have the guts. I want to be positive. But sadly, I'm a realist. And my job here on the channel is to inform, to analyze, and to entertain. And unfortunately, my eyes, my brain, and even my heart tells me I don't think the Heat have a chance in this series. They just don't. I think the Heat ultimately steal a game at home. I think it goes Cavs win. Honestly, I think Cavs win, Heat win game 4, and then Cavs close it out in 5. If you wanted to exact bet that, I wouldn't hate that. I think they win. They just got so much, man. They're so deep. They've got an elite starting 5. They've got an elite bench. When they made the trade at the deadline for DeAndre Hunter, that's when I took them serious as an Eastern Conference contender. Because they got off to a great start this year. But it's still like, all right, is Mitchell, Garland, Mobley, and Allen really just playing that much better this year as a cohesive unit? Is it really just that? But then they traded for DeAndre Hunter, and it's like, okay, now they have that 3-and-D connecting piece that they hoped Isaiah Okoro to be, but he never became that. But he's still a solid defender off the bench for them. I just don't see a world. They're just so good offensively. They're going to beat you up inside with the duo of Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. It's just going to be tough for Miami. The Heat are going to have to play perfect basketball. And are they going to be able to play perfect basketball to win 1 game? Yeah. Are they going to be able to play perfect basketball to win 4? No. I don't even think they'll be able to grab 2 games. So, unfortunately, I'm going Cavs in 5. Just how I see it. But I hope and hope and hope I'm proven wrong. I've been proven wrong before. Let's see if I am proven wrong again. But as I mentioned, we will be live for Game 1. We'll be live for Game 2. We'll be live for Game 4. And we'll be live for any game beyond that as well. So hit that sub button. Join us here at the channel, because we'll also have videos going out on the channel in between each of our games against the Cavs. So join the channel.